Happy Friday, Lakeshore family. Today, I want to offer you an encouraging word about being in tune with God. Um, I'm not sure that many of you know this about Cooper, but Cooper is my kiddo who has mild, moderate hearing loss. And as a result of that, he wears hearing aids. Well, just recently I took him for a checkup with his audiologist. And while he hears very well with normal conversations um, and minimal distractions, I was surprised actually to find out that he's only hearing about 80% of a conversation when there's a lot of background noise. And as I struggled with trying to find what I wanted to talk about in this video, the Lord sent me a message when I wasn't expecting it, and it happened to be at the appropriate time. So as I listened to the audiologist talk about background noise, I found myself relating this to a spiritual predicament. Are we in tune to the frequency of God, or are we letting the enemy filter in and disrupt our lives and take our focus off of Him? There have been several times when I have felt discouraged and unjoyful. In fact, a couple of times this week, actually. Those are moments when I let Satan slip in and tell me that I'm not good enough, that things are never going to get better. Why even bother? What do I have to be joyful about when this, and this are all happening? But what I keep remembering is that as a believer, I claim a victory and a joy through Jesus Christ. John 16:33 says, I've told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. Jesus in this verse was talking to his disciples about the grief that they were going to experience after his death and ascension. But he also brings them back to the point of joy when he says, you will see me again. And that's joy that can't be taken away from us. So how do we claim that same victory and block out all the noise that the enemy is sending to us? How can we tune ourselves into the voice of the Father? Well, we've got to learn to humble ourselves before the Lord and listen to His voice. We've got to let the negative thoughts go. And the only way that we can do that is by being submerged in His Word, having unceasing prayer, and a willingness to listen and be obedient. Unfortunately, it's very easy for us to fall back into letting the noise around us distract us from our purpose. We are called as the church at this particular time and place. We're called to follow Jesus, to go and make disciples, baptizing them and teaching them. And like I tell my LIT kids on Wednesdays, when we follow, go, and make, we are obeying God's directive of loving Him with all of our heart, mind, and strength, and we love others as we love ourselves. So the more that we're able to filter that noise and focus in and listen to the voice of God, the more that we claim victory and the more that we get closer to actually being obedient and loving God. It's when we are still and know that there is a God that our heart begins to be in the same frequency as His. And imagine what the church would look like if everybody was beating in tune to that same frequency. So this week I want to encourage you to filter out what the enemy is trying to tell you and tune into God and find out what He wants for you and for our church and for our spiritual purpose and for our mission. So I want to encourage you this week. Don't let those things discourage you. Find joy, even though sometimes it feels like we're not. And just know that We're here for you to encourage and love on you when you need it. Have a good weekend.